We are live.
Okay, so now I'm just handing my phone then.
Sending
yeah.
data. Warning.
She has to do all my technical things for me.
And I'm not even good at that. So
don't-
don't worry about that. Hit
Okay,
cancel.
good.
Just go to Let's Make Art, the page. Let's Make
Facebook
Art.
is online.
Huzzah.
So go to like the Facebook page.
Okay.
And then just scroll until you see.
Oh, we waited way too long. It's almost 7:15 now.
It's 7:12.
People are like,
3 minutes
where
left.
are you? I can't find you.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
Keep showing. Oh, did you do the search results or did you go to the page? Here, I'll do it.
It's so much easier when you do
Sorry.
it for me.
Wow,
You have
YouTube's
to
reacting
open the-
perfectly.
It is?
Yes, we're on. We're live on YouTube.
Hooray.
Welcome, YouTube.
Welcome, YouTube. Oh, nope, that's not the one we're on.
It is? Okay, so I was
Got some smiley
There we go.
faces. We got some hearts. We got a big hi with 6 eyes.
What do you say?
Hello, guys.
Hello, hello,
Sue
hello.
says hi from Sizzling, California.
Ooh.
It's actually quite beautiful here in Missouri,
Yes.
which literally last week it was like 115.
I think it was closer to 200.
You're right. I'm sorry. I can't believe I was so wrong. Literally last week it was like 115.
Mass panic was setting in.
I don't think you need that sound.
I mean, it's useful to hear all the conversation 4 times. So.
I'm like just echoes of the same thing over and over again. Hi guys, Helen, Becky, Alicia, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Julia, Nancy, Ashley, Susan, Tara, Erica Jensen, who also went to BYU Hawaii and played soccer with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
She was a fantastic goalie.
Hillary.
Hi, Hillary.
Hillary, Lorraine, that's my middle name actually, so welcome. Oh, is that my husband?
It is.
Hello.
Hi, Michael.
You hanging out with us
We always
tonight?
have the best time when Michael's here.
I truly enjoy his company.
Did I just see that?
Yep.
Which part?
It's normal.
You only saw the front, so.
This is my sister, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Jessica,
this is
my
Jessica. Have you met Doe? This is Suzanne's mom.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Taylor says, Suzanne, hi, I love you. You look pretty. Chrissy says the Hollyhocks have been killing her. Hopefully she can master them tonight. We will work on them, Chrissy. I didn't anticipate this many people being so frustrated with this project, but that is okay because we'll just break it down. It's fine. I even brought real life examples.
I was gonna say they have
So-
allergy medicine if it's really affecting her that bad.
Keenan.
Classic flower joke.
That was a stretch. And I even brought their leaves too. I hope our neighbor doesn't mind. Yeah? Did they like it? We have some aunts visiting from out of town and Michael just gave them the lay of the land and they're staying with us. They okay in the girls' room?
The tour of Hamilton takes like 7 minutes.
I told him that
getting
one's going to have to
longer.
go on the top bunk. So I saw them look at each other.
No, they know they can have the other bed though, yeah? Okay, just making sure.
No.
Okay, what time are we at, Keenan?
7:16, and we have some new timers, first timers, new first timers.
Welcome, first timers. We're gonna get started now. Let's get going. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Let's Make Art. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and painting. We have some guests. So to my right, I have Suzanne. You've seen her before. She's wonderful customer service. She is Keenan's wonderful wife. She's
Heyo.
been a painter and she's actually been one of our first subscribers. So
I was.
she was. And then we have her sister Jessica here too. So, and their mom is also sitting here enjoying. And we have Keenan, of course, working the cameras as he always does.
In the background, just
with
being
his
here.
informational facts that are great.
That are helpful sometimes.
Sometimes. And then my husband Michael is also here, just having a good time, helping us out. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. So tonight we are doing our Hollyhock tutorial. Can you please ooh and ah?
Oh,
Wow.
Thank you.
Oh my
Thank you.
goodness.
So
OMG.
this project is really loose. So I think that's probably why I've been kind of peeking in the Facebook group. I've been seeing some people have been having a hard time with it. And I think a lot of it is because this is all loose painting, my friend. It's all wet on wet techniques. And sometimes it's really hard to just like let go. But that's what we're going to do tonight. So good.
letting go. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
You can do
Then you're going to do great.
Yeah.
So we're using 4 colors tonight. We have dandelion yellow. We have amethyst, which is kind of like a purpley color. We have Tahoe blue, and we have red. So essentially, if you don't have our exact colors, that's totally okay. You can paint with whatever you have. We're essentially looking for a purple, blue, yellow, and red. So those are our 4. If you're using the Dr. P.H. Martin's colors, some similar colors would be Norway blue, hyacinth, daffodil yellow, and what's the word that is a red but starts with S?
Superfluous.
Nope.
Cyanide.
Nope. That's a C. That's a C. It's like an orangey red.
Sugar.
No.
Salmon. I
Uh,
know it. And
Santa
I've looked
Fe.
at that sheet 100 times.
what is
Santa
that
red.
color? It's gonna come to me, and I'll say it then.
Crimson.
Okay, it's
not
not
an
crimson,
S.
but it's the other one. Scarlet.
Scarlet.
That's it, right? Thank you. Scarlet. Thank you.
I wish I didn't have to do
Oh, it's
Marilee, thank
so
you
tricky.
so much. Melanie, thank you for coming in.
Sienna. We
To
had
my
all kinds-
aid, because I totally had a brain. Scarlet red, that's it. You guys got it. Okay.
I was just about to go in there just to look at the sheet.
Okay, so, and then we're gonna do this in 4 steps. So first we're gonna do our flowers. The second step, we are gonna put in our green leaves and our stem. Third step, we're gonna go in and do some more like shadows and this like detail work that you kind of see right here. So just kind of putting in some shadows. And then the very last step is what I like to call details, but really it's just like stepping back from your painting and seeing if there's anything you can do to improve it. So, actually, Michael, do you mind passing me a couple of pencils, please? Because I realize that it might be helpful for some people to draw it out before we start painting. So if that is you, I want you guys to have pencils.
Thank you.
I'm the type of person that just likes to go for it.
Cool.
I like to live on the edge, as they say. You know what I mean?
That's a throwback too now.
It is. I haven't said that in a
A
while.
long time.
So, before we get started with our warm-ups, we're actually going to do our oath. So, Jessica's like, I don't know what I mean. It's fine. You'll be safe. If you can raise your right hand and repeat after me, I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise not to compare my work.
I promise not to compare my work.
And I promise to have fun.
And
I promise to have fun.
Thank you. And that's
Sorry,
and that's
like a Cub Scout thing.
no, that's okay. We like this, Cub Scouts. My husband's an Eagle.
So is Keenan.
Keenan, are you an Eagle? Good for you guys.
Such great friends.
I just like to start off that way because sometimes we forget that it's just a piece of paper and it doesn't actually like define our worth or really how skilled we are as an artist, because some paintings we do really good, some we don't do really good, and that's just how it rolls, and that's okay. And it's not fair to compare to each other because we've all been painting for different stages and different lengths. So don't fall into the trap where you just compare yourself all the time, because it will steal your joy, and that's not what we're about. So we're gonna start with our warm-ups. So if you can, we're using a round 6 and a round 2 brush. So round 6, round 2 is what we're using.
Warm-ups. I know what warm-ups are.
So the first thing that we're gonna practice is I want us to practice the wet on wet technique, okay? So, because we use that a lot in this. So wet on wet is usually, yeah, you can get that wet.
There's two. I'm confused.
It's because we want to keep one clean because our warm-ups, our water is going to get dirty, and these are really light flowers. So then we want to use clean water when we start our painting. So wet on wet is just when you have a wet surface and you drop another wet into the wet, okay?
I get it.
So I'm going to get my paintbrush wet. I'm going to hit it off the side of my cup, actually hitting the bristles on the cup so it's not overly wet. If it's dripping, we'll make a mess. We'll have too much water on our paper and it will pool, and we do not want that. So after I get it wet, I'm going to make an area wet, and very quickly I will drop color into that wet area, and it is going to spread. Now, if the water dries, yeah, very nice. That's exactly what we want to see, is just it spreading around. Another thing that you can do, another wet on wet technique, is you can actually drip water on top of that also. Okay? And this is just going to create texture lines, it's going to create blooms, it's going to create a bunch of different funky things that we did not intend for it to create. And this is why watercolor is amazing, because there's always an element of accidental art, and this is where you got to let go.
I like that.
So,
Accidental art.
accidental art, it's so fun. And we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to practice with using, doing a wash first. So a wash is just when you lay down paint and water simultaneously, just like an even color or an even value. So I'm going to get my paintbrush wet, hit it off the side of my cup. I'm going to grab a little bit of a color. I'm just going to grab red. And I'm going to do a red space. And if you have to pick up a little bit, because I made my red space and then almost immediately it dried because my brush wasn't very wet. So when that happens, you can just dampen your brush and re-wet the area and just paint on top of it, get it wet. Okay, so this is our wet wash, and then I can grab paint and drop that into the wash.
Oh, good. Our cousin?
Carrie.
Oh, hi, Carrie. My girlfriend from Kauai is on.
Oh,
Kay
hello.
Burton. Kay Burton's watching too. Hi, Kay.
Yay.
So, as you can see, it's the same thing that's happening, but we already have a color that's underneath it. So, and then you can do water drops on top of that if you really want to spread the color out, if you want to get some funky textures. And this is just playing, okay? So I actually want us to practice doing the flower because I think that's where people kind of got caught up a little bit. So we're going to practice the flower before we actually do it on our like for real painting. So I'm going to rinse my brush. Oh, but I would like to say really quick that when you're using this wet on wet technique, something I just want you to be aware of if you go rogue is I just want you to be aware of colors, because when you mix like colors with each other that aren't next to each other on the color wheel, they could turn muddy, and that might make you mad because then it could look different than what you're anticipating. So just be careful. I know that some people like to drop in like pink and blues together, but sometimes that could mix and make purple, or sometimes it just looks a little bit funky. So just be aware.
I can't help but notice you looked right at me when you said it turns muddy. Was that on purpose? My paintings turn muddy?
No, I'm just directing a tip towards you for no apparent. No, I'm just kidding. So, okay, so I'm gonna make a really soft peachy color. Now to do that, we don't actually have that color on our palette, but we can mix it. So I'm going to take a little bit of my red and pull it to my center. And this is why I love the palette mixing, our palettes, our butcher palettes, because I have this whole entire area to mix, which is wonderful. So I'm going to also grab a little bit of yellow and mix that in with my red. And I'm going to get this peachy color. Now, if you want it more pink, then grab a little bit more red. And so you can just keep on adding little by little until you get the color that you want. Now remember to mix in a little bit of water also, because peach and light pink are light valued colors naturally. And so we don't want to get them too dark, or else they'll actually turn it into a completely different color. So don't be afraid to just mix some water in there too. So I feel, and you can always test it. That's a good like rosy color.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Kayla's watching. Kayla was watching that.
Look at you guys, bringing some people in.
Fan base.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create the shape of my flower. Isn't that pretty? I'm gonna create the shape of my flower using this really peachy soft color, and then I will drop a darker value in the center of my flower. Okay, so I'm going to grab this peachy color. I'm gonna load my paintbrush with it, and I'm gonna do my flower. Now this flower is just a circle that's kind of wavy, okay? And it doesn't need to be perfect. And then I'm gonna leave a white hole in the middle, so I'm just gonna do it kind of like a donut, and then fill in the flower with water. So at this point, I'm not super concerned about wiping my brush off when I'm picking up water because I want this to be pretty damp. Now I don't want a full-on puddle. If you have a puddle on your paper that's too much water, you can just take your paper towel and soak up the excess water if that's what you have, okay? And now that it's nice and wet, I'm going to grab some concentrated color. I'm gonna grab, and this is where you wanna mix it a little bit darker. Okay. And then you can drop it in there and just let it spread. And it might go very far, it might not go far at all. If you want it to go farther, you can just take your paintbrush and be like, come on, little fella, move around for me. Just kind of move it around. And if you want to do like, maybe you did that center and you're like, that was really pretty, but I want it to be even darker, we'll do more. There's nothing wrong with doing other layers. So if I'm like, I'm actually gonna go like full on red on this center, do it.
That's gorgeous.
And if you just wanna like kind of spread it out a little bit just using water, you absolutely can. Now that I said donut, all I see are donuts. That's all I want. Beautiful. That's exactly what we're looking for.
I don't know of a time
Very
when I
nice.
don't want donuts.
Oh, that's really great, Susanna, and I love that edge you actually got on that too.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So that's the essence of our flowers. That's it. So yeah, you absolutely can do this. Now, one thing I do want to point out, and we actually have hollyhocks outside of our building, and I went and I stole one. So it's a different color, but I just wanted you guys to see what this flower actually is if you've never seen one of them in person. So they're on a stem. So you can see here that it's just this big, thick stem, and then the flowers pop up along the stem. And they have leaves and the flowers along. Now, there's multiple petals here. However, they all blend together, so they look like one. So that's why you just have that one kind of circular shape going on. Now, another reason why I wanted to show you this is if we were looking at this flower face on, which is what we're doing on most of these flowers. But once you start getting to the ones that are coming off the side, which is what we want because it's a three-dimensional object, you will turn it. And so I just want you guys to see how it looks like turned. So it comes out from this point, from where the buds are, and it flares out to the top. Okay, so it kind of has this really strong triangle shape going on here, okay? So I'll keep this handy, and you can also see that the center is concentrated and darker in color, which is why we do our wet on wet right there. Just like that, and then as they actually bloom, they can get really big, and they're just like these gorgeous, really papery flowers, and you see they're circular, but they do have like a roundness to the petals on some of them, almost like a star a little bit, if you can see that. So don't be afraid if your flower is a little bit, like has a little bit extra curve in it than somebody else's, that's okay. All of these flowers are different from each other, and I'm sure it exists in nature somewhere. Okay, so now the next thing that we are going to practice really quick before we get into our painting is we're going to practice values. And I know that I've said that a couple of times and you might not know what that is. So values are just the lightness and the darkness of a color. It has nothing to do with the color. It's all about the lightness and darkness of that color. So in watercolor, if you want to make a light value, all you have to do is add water to it, kind of like how we were mixing our peach. We just kept on adding water, we grabbed a little bit of color, and that's our light value. So to get a dark value, what you're going to do is you're going to get your paintbrush wet, damp, hit it off the side of the cup, and then you're going to totally like engulf your paintbrush in some paint. So you're really filling the belly of your brush with paint. And then just paint whatever you want, rectangle, heart, circle. And this is a dark value here. Now, if I were to just take my same brush, I'm not picking up any more color, and I just dip my brush twice or 3 times in the water where it's just like dip, 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 hit it off the side of my cup, and paint again, it is a lighter value of the same color.
Okay, dip, dip, dip.
Dip, 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 hit it off the side.
Up.
Yep, and now paint. There,
Okay.
lighter value. Do it again. Dip, dip, dip. Hit it off the side of your cup. Paint. That's a lighter value still. And just keep on going like that until you have a barely there color. See how far you can go.
Oh, I dipped 4 times. I'm in trouble.
That's okay. And if you want to go from a really dark value to a really light value, just rinse your brush more. I just want to show you how much like water, like the more you clean your brush, then the lighter the color will be. The less you clean your brush, the darker the color will be, okay? So if we're looking here, so this is our dark value. This is,
Borrow.
oh, sorry. This is our dark value here. This is our medium. These are our lights, okay? So when you're doing a painting, no matter what you're painting, you always want to make sure you have at least 3 different values going on. And if you look at our reference, we have some really light values in our flowers, we have some medium values, and we have some really dark values. And the reason why you want values is that's how you communicate form. If things are the same value across the entire painting, it will flatten it and it will not seem dimensional. That's why, like, if I paint a circle and just do 1 value, that's a circle, okay? But then if I take that and I do that same circle and I give it a highlight, which is a light value, and then I give it a shadow at the bottom, it's now a sphere.
Oh, yes.
So that's just the difference, is just the different values going on. That sphere got really funky, but I feel like I communicated my point. So just by adding value, it all of a sudden gives it form. It's the magic. It is the secret to making things. So, okay. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, one last thing. Let's do some, let's do another technique, and this is called wet on dry. So the reason why I like wet on wet, when you paint it, it will blend and it will create these really cool textures. But if you want lines, like detail lines, you're not going to want to paint on it while it's wet. So you can see here on my little buds that I have some detail lines. Yeah. And if you want to keep those nice and sharp, you need to paint on it while it's dry. So I'm going to grab my round 2 so you guys can get used to the size. And you can pick up any color and just paint on something that's already dry. Like this here is dry, and I'm just going to do like lines on it. And I just want you guys to see how differently the watercolor reacts on a wet surface and a dry surface. Your lines will stay sharp, that detail stays there. So use that knowledge to your advantage when you're painting. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Yep, yep. Gorgeous. Okay, I think we're ready to paint.
Gorgeous style.
So you can just put your warm-up sheet next to you if you want to test colors or something before, you know, because sometimes it's scary going straight to your painting. Now, if you guys want to take the time to sketch it out, let me grab a different pencil.
Yes, please.
And I'll just kind of show you how you can do that. Now, the thing I want you to be aware of with watercolor is it's transparent. So whatever your pencil lines are, they will show through in your painting. So try and sketch lightly. Or if you're doing like a loose painting like this, watercolor pencils is a great thing to sketch with because those lines disappear once water hits them. So I'll use like a gray watercolor pencil to sketch, and then my lines are totally gone. So, okay, if I'm going to, so if this is my, my stem is gonna kind of come up the middle. So I'm just gonna do a line up the middle, okay? Now if you look at the, I mean, this is how I'm envisioning it in my head. Maybe I should have gone outside and studied it more. I feel like they're a little bit thicker on the bottom and narrower at the top. Now you don't actually see our bottom very well because our flowers cover it, but that's just something to keep in mind. So if this is our stem, and we can start putting our flowers in if you want. So if you want, you can go off the reference, but my flowers I'm keeping probably about 2 inches, 2 inches in width around, and they can get a little bit bigger as they go up or down. And you can just start putting them in. So I'm like, okay. And the thing I want you to keep in mind is it's in our brain to put flowers on the sides of stems because we forget that we see things in the 3-dimensional form and not laying flat on the ground like how our brain thinks we see things. So draw in front of your stem. So our flowers come out in front of our stem, okay? So there's a flower, here's gonna be a flower here, and they're gonna overlap with each other. So you see how if one's behind it, the line doesn't continue. And remember, these are not perfect circles. We do not want them to be. They're loose, they're wavy, some have extra curve, some don't. When these are like full big bloom, it really is almost a really smooth circle. So.
Fun fact about hollyhocks.
Yes.
Helen Mar Adams says hollyhocks are sometimes called outhouse flowers because they were often planted to hide unsightly outhouses.
Really? Well, that makes sense because they're tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, these stalks are like taller than I am, some of them. That's not very hard. But yeah, they're beautiful. And there's flowers all the way up and down. And then when you get to the top, what I did to add a little bit of dimension to our hollyhock is I put one on its side because these flowers go all the way around the stem. They just don't bloom on one side. So if I have one over here, and remember it kind of starts out from a bud, so it's going to be kind of narrow, and then it kind of flowers out. Okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, there isn't a perfect one. They're all different. And then maybe this one is on its side too coming out. So it's just like a triangle. But give it a softer corner. Don't do a harsh, like actual triangles. And can they see that?
It's kind
Very
of
well.
I was going to switch to this angle.
Yeah, do the close-up maybe.
Could get closer, but it's going to be hard to show the entire thing.
Okay. Should I just draw darker? I don't mind doing that. Would that be helpful?
I'll show you what they can see right now. If you move your head.
Okay, sorry. Hey.
Jessica's somebody.
Okay, I think that's good.
Oh, I got a lefty comment. Thank you very much. Lefties unite.
And then we also have their leaves. So this is, I pulled this off of a leaf. Off of a thing outside. So this is one of their leaves. This is a smaller leaf actually. So if you were to lay the leaf totally flat, this is what it looks like. However, if you're looking at the orientation of our painting, this leaf would not be totally flat in the middle of here. That perspective does not match. So it would most likely be on its side, picking out. So when that happens, when a leaf is flat, it's full. When you put it on its side, it's now thin. That's called perspective and foreshortening, and it messes with us a little bit because our brains are like, no, but leaves look like this. But when you actually see it on this angle, it's thinned out. So you can put a leaf in here that's kind of more like that, and it would make sense because we're looking at it from the side. It's possible that it could also be facing out towards us. So if you want to do a big leaf coming out that way, you absolutely can. So if you have a thick leaf or a thin leaf, it makes sense because we'd see that fully just depending on how the leaf is on the stem. I feel like I'm going into way more detail on this than I did in the tutorial.
But that's why we're here,
Yes.
to help people
Okay,
understand.
people are like, we are ready to paint.
Also, we've got people going a little overboard with the whole lefty thing.
They're loving it.
Lefties are smarter.
I wish I was a lefty.
We really feel so strongly about
That's where
our
she gets
cause.
it.
Are you
Our
lefty
cause.
too?
My mama.
My mom's a lefty. I
That's
am. I'm not, and I'm sorry that I can't teach.
The Latin word for left is sinister. So you decide.
Oh, you decide.
I pride myself on being
eyebrow
different. I'm the only non-left-handed girl in the family.
Really?
So, yeah, it's
Right,
just-
so.
they're lefties.
Are
I'm
either
not.
of your girls left-handed that you know of?
Vita kind of is.
They're both kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Haven's a lost cause. She is a right-handed.
Especially after she broke her arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helped to secure the position. Yeah.
Sorry. My brain was just going in like 3 different directions. I forgot what I was saying. The other thing I'm going to put in are these little buds.
They're so cute.
So this is where I would assume the flowers come from. I'm right. They're the start of flowers. For a second, I thought that maybe it was leaves, and I'm like, that can't be right. And they actually happen anytime on the stalk. So if you want to add some down here, you can. I kept mine more towards the top only because this is kind of a weird composition, and I wanted to be clear which part was the top and which part was the bottom, since we're so close up to it and we don't see the entire picture. So I wanted to be like, it thins out, so this is the top, here are buds, this is where it ends, and we're really full down here, so it just keeps on going down. That was the point of me doing that. However, this is your painting, so you can do whatever you want. Maybe you want buds on the bottom. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, now I think we are ready to go. So I'm going to just do what we did in our warm-up. I'm going to grab my round 6, and you can start on any of these flowers. So, Jessica's water is blue. Don't use blue water. Blue water with this peachy color will actually turn it brown. So here's clean water. You have clean water. I think this is actually clean enough. Now I'm going to grab some of this color, and I'm actually going to mix a little bit of water in there to get it nice and light. Okay. Now once I have this color filled, I'm going to start on my flowers. So I'm going to start doing the shape. And then you do your center that we're going to leave empty like a donut, and then you fill.
Mary has a joke.
Do you have the answer to the joke also?
I'm pretty sure yes.
Okay.
I think I'm just a little slow, so I read it like 4 times before I was sure I understood it.
Okay.
What's a honeymoon salad?
What's a honeymoon salad? What?
Lettuce alone without dressing.
Really good.
That's good. That's really good.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Great.
So my flower, I'm going to re-wet it because we heard that fabulous joke, which is so great.
That's awesome.
But sometimes when you're talking, which I tend to do this, and I'm sorry, your thing will dry. And then you're like, shoot, wait a second, it's not wet and it won't spread anymore. So just re-wet it. So I'm just using water and re-wetting the area. And then I'm going to grab my strong color and just drop it in the center and just watch it go.
Wow.
Yep. And then you're just going to put in, you want to make sure it's wet. Now if it's, again, if it's not spreading how you want it to, there is nothing wrong with helping it spread. It's helpful if the surface is wet, but you don't want it to be, when it's a pool, the color will stay right where you drop it. But if it's a nice kind of like soft, wet area where it's like evenly wet across, it should spread pretty nicely. And if you, I'm gonna actually, I can just help it spread a little bit more if I want. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. If you want to do another round where it's just like, I want it super concentrated in the center, you can do another drop in there.
That's awesome.
So it just depends on how contrasty you want your flowers to be. Very nice. Beautiful. Okay. And then we're going to move on to our second flower. So we're going to just do this on all of the flowers that we have going on. So I'm going to do And you can slightly change up one color of the flower from the next. So I'm going to actually grab a slightly little bit more yellow in this mixture. So this one's a little bit more kind of peachy instead of rosy. And that's okay. They can be slightly different colors from each other, but we don't want like rainbow, which actually would probably be really cool. Just if you're trying to do a more realistic painting, then you want the colors pretty similar to each other, but they don't have to be exact. If you want to go crazy and do like rainbow colored, that's cool too. And the great thing about hollyhocks is they come in so many different colors. There's actually one outside that it's like this really gorgeous, like deep purple. It's almost black.
That's what I was going to say.
So
It'd be cool to have a
beautiful.
couple different colored flowers on this one stem.
Yeah, or you can do like multiple stems
Ooh,
of different
plot
ones.
twist.
Plot twist. I took your idea and I made it better.
Classic.
Classic. So once it's nice and wet, I'm going to grab my strong color, drop it in, and it's just going to move where there is water. Oh, that is gorgeous.
So I was like, I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah,
looks great.
if you like it, just don't touch it.
I did like some orange and then dropped the darker red, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah, that's really
I
cool.
like it.
Jessica, Susie.
Very nice.
All right.
Very
Our
nice.
cousin Susie. It's all about the cousins.
And then if I were you, while that's nice and wet, I would do one more round of that nice dark color and drop it right around that ring and just see what that does.
Deep.
Yeah, like the dark. Yep. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yep.
money.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, I feel like I should go back. No?
You
Don't
can.
touch it.
You absolutely can. If you like it, then leave it. But if you want to darken it, you just need to re-wet the area wherever you want that paint to spread, and that's where you put in the color. Up to you.
That is a challenging question.
Now, the other thing that we have going on in this painting is we have some shadows. So because these flowers overlap and are on top of each other, to make it clear that they're in front or behind each other, we put shadows. Okay, so this one is clearly in front of this one because there's a shadow here and because we don't see all of this flower because this flower is covering it up and that flower is actually casting a shadow on that flower. So if you look at our second flower, it's going to be behind our first one. So you can make a little bit of shadow. So what I did is I am going to grab a little bit of purple and I'm gonna like tone it down, the purple down, because this is a very vibrant purple, by mixing it into my orangey red peach mixture. Okay, and then you're gonna go where they overlap or right around where they overlap, and you're gonna put a shadow in. And I like to blend things out. Yeah, very nice, very nice.
Oof.
So if it's nice and wet, it will just automatically blend out and you'll be safe. Mine dried a little bit more, so I'm just gonna take a damp brush and blend out a little bit so it doesn't create a super hard line. Very nice, gorgeous. And then if this is too wet and your shadow bleeds into your first flower,
I see it a little bit, yeah.
yeah, if it's happening, what you can do is, actually, can I paint on yours? Is that okay so I can show people? Okay, so we have Jessica's here. She put in her shadow and it just spread just a little bit past the line. Now we want to make sure those lines are a little bit crisp. So one thing that you can do to avoid it is actually leave a little bit of space in between. Or what you can do is I can actually lift this color up using a clean damp brush. So I lift up where it is blending, and then once that dries, go back in and put the shadow back in and redefine that line.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, you guys are doing so great. So let's keep on going.
I don't know how to take compliments. I'm like, thanks.
Take them.
Okay, so I'm going to do this next one a little bit pinkier. I'm actually just going to take red and just add water to it. So it's a nice light pink color.
So do we avoid this space because that's a shadow, right?
So this is now I made this our shadow color now. So if you want to do a flower that color, you absolutely can. You just got to make sure your shadow is darker in value.
Right.
Okay, so there's that. I'm going to do my circle, and then I'm going to spread.
Do you get nervous when you hear them whispering over there?
I'm used to it. And actually, my center would probably be a little bit closer to the stem. Okay, and then now it's nice and wet. I'm going to put in the color. And if, honestly, if you guys are painting this and the shadow part is making you feel nervous or you're not sure you like it and you just like how your flowers look without it, you do not have to put it in. This is absolutely your painting and you get to make those decisions because it is your painting. So you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm just showing you different options of what you can do if you wanted to add maybe an element of depth. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of put in a shadow here where it's kind of hitting this flower. And I'm going to actually make a slightly more saturated in color. Oh yeah, look at that purple. So I mix, I mixed my amethyst with the red. It made this gorgeous, gorgeous purple. And you can drop that into. So this is a much darker value. Do you see the value differences between this one and this one?
Yes.
So you guys can play with that. It's up to you how dark you want your shadows to be. I just love having pops of color in places, even in my shadows. So I'm not afraid just to go a little bit like, yeah, let's just put purple right there and see what happens. What are you doing?
Still. That's what they were whispering about. You go get it. No, you go get it.
My husband came and I feel like he's just being a distraction. Walking in and out everywhere, taking my wallet.
Has he been distracting you?
A little bit.
Oh, well then you would be correct.
We know he's distracting you.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't ask if he was distracting me.
Helen says her shadows keep blending. Okay, Helen, if that is happening to
Be
you,
like this one? I don't know.
yeah, maybe. If it's just blending out and it's not keeping that, wait till your flower dries and then put your shadows in and then take a damp brush and blend the edge out. And I'll do that actually with the next one, so I can show you how to do that. So there's two ways you can put shadows in. If you want it to be really soft and smooth, you can do it while it's wet. If you want it to be a little bit more distinct and harsh, I don't want to say harsh because that's it might seem bad, but it's not bad. Do it when it's dry, okay? Okay, so we're on to our next flower. We're doing great. We're sailing through it.
So cool.
This is like the longest first step in the history of all of the paintings we've ever done. Okay, so here is my flower. Now I already kind of drew in a leaf right here, so I'm going to avoid that area. And I'm going to do my circle. Fill it in. And this is also where you guys can have some fun too, because maybe you did more of a pink flower and you're like, that was pretty. If you want to do hints of yellow while this is wet, you can totally put hints of yellow in this while it's nice and wet. There is nothing wrong with that, and it will just, since it's wet, it will just blend out softly, and you can have like little pops of other color. Okay, and I would like to say one other thing, which is, these flowers are very loose and organic, and this is a very loose and organic painting. And sometimes what that might mean is if we look at it by itself without context, they don't look like flowers. And that could be really frustrating as you're painting. But trust me, when we put in leaves, when we put in some green, and we put in a stem, they will become flowers. So like just get past this point and don't give up, because this is like with painting, everything looks way funny halfway through because we haven't finished it yet. So give your painting a chance before you decide that it's bad. you know? So you might be like, these don't look like flowers, they literally look,
They look like cells.
yes, cells. That's
Maybe blood cells.
Like red
so
blood
much,
cells.
so much better than what I was thinking, and perfect description. But once we add in stems, it will become more clear.
Awesome.
Okay, so I dropped in some yellow, so I have this really pretty hint of yellow in my flower, but now it's dry, so I'm just gonna re-wet it. Take a damp brush, get it wet. And grab some red and drop it in.
On YouTube, someone said everyone hashtag their favorite color.
Oh,
Oh, periwinkle, can I just say it?
Sure.
Yes.
You have to say
Periwinkle.
hashtag first.
Hashtag periwinkle.
There you go. Perfect. Ashley says hashtag turquoise. Also, she's from Newfoundland, I believe.
oh.
Pretty cool. Pretty
Go
cool.
there.
Yeah, let's go. there.
Carmen says hashtag chicken nuggets. That's also a big fan of that color.
I support that.
Yes.
I feel sick.
Got a couple hashtag purples.
Okay, that's my husband's favorite
I've
color.
been told I'm very quiet, so I apologize. Tonight I am.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
you
gonna say,
have-
when is everybody,
Tonight,
everybody
sorry.
ever
You have been really quiet, and it's because
Our
my
good
husband's
friend,
been.
tree-hugging Buddhist. I apologize.
I've been what?
You've been talking to him and distracting him from
We're in
interacting.
love, and there's nothing you can do.
We're gonna get Grayson cranky, and there's no getting around it.
Oh, people like light gray, eggplant purple.
I'm a lime green fan myself.
Still?
I love.
Still.
Yeah.
I
Lime
love
green, turquoise.
this color.
Yeah,
Okay, everybody
lime
watch
green.
as I
Good
try to
color.
fix this. Here we go.
You got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Darla, welcome.
Yep.
I had to let mine dry because I was
Yeah,
tired of
I've
it.
kind of gone off a
Blending and
little
everything else.
rogue, like you said. A little rogue, never hurt anyone.
Yeah, it's totally fine. You can lift up. You can redefine those edges and those lines.
Fun.
Ooh, cerulean.
You know it. That's a good one.
Okay, and I know I didn't draw one in here, but I just really feel like I need a flower right here. So I'm just gonna ignore what I drew and put a little flower there.
Nice.
I'm giving you guys the look.
I was trying to focus.
I was trying to focus. Okay, so I'm just doing an extra little flower on the top right because I just felt like it needed it. And also, your flowers don't all have to be overlapping. They don't all have to run into each other. Like, it's on a stalk. So some are blooming in different areas, and that's totally okay.
Now, for the ones that are going onto the side, do we
Yeah.
have a different technique, or do we just?
So for the ones that are going off on the side, and we can look at it here, so they wouldn't have a darker center because we're actually not seeing the full flower. So if you look on the side, it's a little bit darker where it meets this green bud. So it's a little bit darker in value at the bottom, and then it lightens up at the top. So when we do our side flowers, what you can do is you can just grab your like peachy color and paint
Cool.
the side of it, and then do a drop of color concentrated right where it would come out of that bud.
Love it. Okay.
And all of these, of course, like are different. So this one, it seems like it splays out at the edge.
I know.
At the edge a little bit more. I didn't mean to do that again. So it's
Now you
it's gonna have a
know.
sharper corner.
About Ed.
Michael's like, who's Ed?
It's like, what's going on?
I was reading comments. I was no
Don't worry about it.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just leave them out.
The joke is, what happens when you drop your waffle in the desert? And someone put San Diego, and I'm like, San Diego?
We're both super confused. Like, what is
San
happening?
Diego.
San Diego! I get it. I get it.
Like,
We're sitting here. I do not get it.
Sandy,
like it's a nice place. I
you
don't
guys
know.
have the best jokes. Do you know these people have the best jokes?
They really do have the best
Serious.
jokes.
Really good puns too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Molly
So
on here.
good.
Molly drops some solid ones.
Wow.
Molly's the best. She needs to get on here.
awesome.
I haven't had her on in a bit. Okay. And then a dash of color right at that tip. Very nice. Very
so,
nice.
how do I deal with this guy? Since I decided
The leaf?
to draw a leaf with the flower behind it.
Okay, so what I would suggest here, so we have a leaf going on and we also have a flower going on the back side, okay, which is so great. What I would suggest doing is, trying to think of how this flower would be on the back of it. So if you're doing the back of a flower, you would actually kind of see a green part where it's coming out, kind of like that,
Okay.
that you would want to put in. And then you would do the, so I would actually do the color and work around the stem and the leaf, and then let that dry and then put in your greenery.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so, very nice.
We have another joke for you.
Okay, ready?
Why couldn't Mozart keep chickens?
Why?
They kept saying, buck, buck.
I was gonna say something about Bach, but I didn't know what. Something
Susanna's
about
never
Bach.
been more in love with you. Did you see that face?
You're the best.
She's like, that's the father of my children. Bach, Bach.
He gets to come home with me today.
That was good. Okay, now we're gonna do step 2. We're finally ready to move on. Congratulations for making it through it, because this really is a very long step. It's like 2/3 of our painting. Now we're gonna do our green leaves and our stem. We do not have green, but lucky for us, you mix yellow and blue together, you get green. Problem solved.
Magic.
So, I have some yellow, I have some blue. Now, the reason why I love mixing is because you then get to decide the tone of your colors by mixing. For example, if I put a green in here, then I'm kind of stuck with whatever temperature or color that green is, right? But if I mix it, then I could just adjust the different things that I'm mixing and make different kinds of green. And that's why I love doing that, because people like different kinds of green and whatever colors. So if you want more of a yellow green, like a lime green, you're gonna mix more yellow. And so this is more of like a lime green. For me personally, I love it when like it gets really like blue-green too. You just mix more blue, okay? And then if you want more kind of even, like neutral green, you try and do even yellow and blue mixtures, okay? And then if you want to tone down your green, like brown it up, mix a little bit of red in there, and you will now have a desaturated green. So I like to use all of these greens in my leaves, but if you like more the desaturated, you absolutely can do that. If you like more yellow green, you can, whatever you want. So I'm going to grab a yellow green to start with, and I'm going to put in my leaf here. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same technique that I did in the wet on wet with my flowers, is where it's coming out from this leaf, it's going to be darker. So that's where I'm going to grab my dark green that's maybe a little bit more blue and drop that in there. And yes, it's going to spread and move, and that might seem really scary, but you got to let it do its thing.
A viewer, I'm going to call her Miss Martin because I don't know if it's Saray, said she did this twice and it looked like circles. And to you, I would say, wait till this video's over, rewind it. You're doing the incantation correct, but you got to use the right words of, come on, little guy, like Sarah said. That's how you get them to look right.
That's true.
With the, come on, little guy.
Or if they're looking just too much like circles, don't make them perfect circles. Let there be a little bit of a curve and a wave in the flower. Or be like, come on, little guy.
There it is.
And then another thing I like to do with my leaves and my greens is I like to drop in just colors. So this is still wet, and I'm going to do just drops of yellow in there and kind of spread that. And now I just have these pops of vibrant color that just make paintings more visually interesting personally, because I like color. You might not like color, and that's totally okay.
Oh, my dentist is calling. Should I take it?
Yes.
Your dentist calling?
Do you want me to answer it? I'll answer
Yeah,
it.
it says dentist on her phone. That's all it says.
That's
How do you
Dentist.
think I got these?
That's code for lover. That's what Keenan is on my phone. That's how I
No,
dentist. So
it's
like,
still
your
really
dentist
early
is
there.
calling again?
It's 4 p.m. there. So
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Dentist calling at midnight.
Dentist.
Who cares about me?
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
She sounds pleased.
Okay. So I got my leaf. Again, we already talked about our leaf in the different perspectives. So if you have a bigger leaf or a thinner leaf, it makes sense either way, okay? It just depends on the perspective of how you're seeing your leaf. Now we're gonna put in our stem. So I'm just gonna use my round 6, and I have some green on my brush, and I'm just going to start putting in and working around the flowers that I have, putting in my stem, okay? And I'm gonna see, I'll have it poke out a little from the bottom too. I might like add another flower right here so it's not just a gap, but I reserve the right to change my mind. Okay,
that should be on the oath too.
I reserve the right to change what I want when I want. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, just to add like a hint of a dimension to our stem, is one side is gonna be darker than the other side. So I'm gonna take my round 2 into this really dark green, and just on one side of the stem, you can do the right or the left. I'm just gonna do one side of it dark. And it's going to blend out, or maybe it will stay right there. Either way, it's gonna be fine. I'm just trying to bring a different value to this stem, so it's not just even in value. And then what I'm going to do is, if you still want to keep using your round 6, you can. I'm going to start doing my buds. Now the buds are just kind of, what shape is this?
Lemon.
Elf ear.
Yeah, a cross between a lemon and an elf ear.
Yes. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Powers combined.
And the color actually on these buds is actually a light green. I was just outside looking at them. So I have some light green stems, and they're just kind of coming out from there. And I'm adding my little buds on my sideways flowers. Got really quiet. We're focusing.
We're so focused. It's something about the precision of the number 2.
Yeah, when you're doing
Makes you,
like detail work.
Can you stop calling him Keith?
I got new brushes. I didn't feel right calling him the same name.
I named them, but she apparently didn't like Walker and Texas Rangers.
Honestly, it's because like there was a comment where somebody was like, "I hate that you named them brushes," and it made me sad, and so I stopped doing that.
Can't let the haters get to you.
It killed my spirit for a second. I'll gather strength again and rename them one day. I'm just not ready.
Keith will rise from the ashes.
Yeah.
A new brush, a stronger brush.
Named Heath.
Rising from the ashes.
Okay, and another thing I want to show you guys, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, this is looking really good. But you know what? It is so bare up here, and it's bothering me. I'm not feeling that too much on yours.
Except for this stem that goes to nowhere. The stairway of heaven.
It just
goes.
fades off. But what you can do when, and this is a little trick that I love to do, is if something is feeling empty and you want to fill the space, but if I do a huge flower right here, it would be too distracting. And also I already put this green thing here, so what the heck. you can just do a hint of something else that's behind. And if you just do a hint of a color, then it's like, oh, that's a back flower. And it's just covering that space, and it's just a light value, so it's not too heavy or distracting. So if I take my round 6 and I grab this really soft, blush, peachy color that I have going on here, and I'm just like, you know what? Behind here, there's a flower facing the other way. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The shape can be a little bit wonky. Our goal is not to make this super defined. It's to make it feel compositionally not empty. And now it doesn't feel empty because I have a little hint of color. So whenever you're doing like floral compositions or things like that, that's a little trick, because when you're doing floral compositions, you're like, I don't have enough space to do another flower, but it's too empty. What do I do? Just a little soft wash behind there, fills the space, but does not become distracting. It's a really just fun trick. So, and it can just be, that's it. Like, that's all you need. You're good to go. And I'm actually going to, I know I already painted my stem, but I just want to do a hint of another flower down here. It's bothering me that it's just like empty. So I'm just going to go along here and just kind of start doing the tip of one. And I already had a stem there, so I'm just trying to lighten up the stem area, like lift up some of that green. And after I've lifted up some of that green, I'll go back over with a slightly darker color to kind of hide it. Christine says they'll always be Hank and Keith to her.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Okay.
Question.
Yes.
I was trying to go rogue and do my back
Yes.
of my flower, but I'm not too sure that it looks right. Do you have any suggestions?
Yes, I actually think it looks really great.
Oh, thanks.
And the reason that it convinces me, and maybe we can just exaggerate it a little bit, is you did another wash right where it's coming out, which is true to how it is. If you see the back of it, it's darker right where it's coming out of that bud. But something that we can do that might help it is when we're doing our detail lines on our buds, we can do a couple directional lines here to show, see how there's actually lines coming out the back of it, just to like communicate that a little bit more. But I think it looks really good. Okay, that was step 2. You guys did great. We're gonna move on to step 3, which is the shadow textures and the details. So what I mean by shadow textures is there are a lot of petals here and they overlap. Where those petals overlap, the value is slightly darker because it's 2 colors going over each other. Does that make sense? So if you look at this flower, it's slightly a little bit darker here, 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 and here, wherever those petals are overlapping. So we're gonna kind of emulate that by just introducing a slightly darker value within our flowers. So I'm going to grab my round 2. And if you just want to use that shadow color, I still have a little bit on here, you can. It just depends on how like vibrant you want to be. So if you want it to stay really vibrant, you can use just the same colors, like probably more the color that you use for the center for this. I'm going to use a little bit between, well, I'll have a little bit of purple in there. And then I'm just going to do some like, I'm going to just choose an area and be like, okay, this is where those petals overlap, like that. And that's all I'm going to do. So it just kind of goes to the center. And then I'm going to move on to the next area. Okay, this is kind of where they overlap over here. And there's no exact, like don't be like every 3 milliliters, no, millimeters. I don't even know how long that is. That's probably
3
like
milliliters
nothing.
is a common measurement that we use here. So that'd be why.
Millimeters, like a fingernail lip almost.
What I'm saying is they don't have to be exactly measured in between. That was my point I was trying to make. So
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here to learn,
About
to show how little we know of measurements.
Milliliters per finger, I think is a measurement.
That's
That sounds
miles
right.
per hour, right?
Yes,
That
it's close
sounds
to
right.
miles per hour.
So just have a few within your flower. Yeah, I switched it up. It looks like I have like 4s, 3s, 5s. It just depends. And if you want them to be defined, do them darker. I'm trying to stay more on the lighter side, and the reason for that is you can always go back in and darken something. And you can sometimes lift out color, but not always, so I tend to caution on like, let's start with some light layers first and see.
This isn't as scary as I thought it would be.
I'm
Yeah,
so
it's not
happy to
bad.
hear you say that.
But it's, yeah, this is,
Isn't it just
I'm
fun?
not talking about the whole thing, but just even this step, I thought, oh no,
Yeah,
can't we just stop there? And now I'm good. I'm good.
it's just one of those things where it's like, if you can just break down what it actually is, it's not that bad.
Totally.
I have a joke for you.
I'm ready for it.
What did the red light say to the green light? This was requested, and I
I
apologize
said,
for not
Keenan, read
reading.
my joke.
Oh, I
Yes.
read it, but I won't give it away.
I read it too, so it's all
What
on you.
did the red
What?
light say to the green light?
What?
Don't look at me, I'm charging.
Changing. Changing.
I read it wrong and said it wrong every time.
We went over this.
Michael and I,
made sure
we
to
like
say- I'm
planned
it's
this,
changing.
and I even just
It's
like,
changing.
what does it say? There's
Michael's
an
like,
R, I
"We
swear.
practiced
I've got bad glasses. Give me 5 minutes, we'll try again.
Don't look at me, I'm changing. Changing makes so much more sense for the joke.
Sorry, Jolie.
Jolene on here?
She is.
She is?
She is.
Mom's name Jolene?
Yeah, she hates
Jolie.
That song.
Oh, don't sing it. Don't sing it.
Great song. It is a great song.
Oh my gosh, that was good.
Did you not find her?
I didn't see.
No, I don't see her.
Okay, after Hank and Tank, we were talking about the brushes and then like the Hank and Tank and
Oh, I see
Is
her.
that tomorrow? No. I think that's Thursday.
that's such a good place to eat.
Don't you play with my heart.
Well, it's also hard because sometimes people just pop in for like a second and it says they're watching, but then I don't know.
Okay.
Not saying
Well,
that's
this
her.
is
Wasn't Hank, don't Hank and Tinks open tomorrow? Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
No,
3 days a week.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah,
Playing with my heart.
We're talking about a local barbecue place.
they're worth waiting for.
Yeah, if you like,
Say
if you're ever in Hamilton and you want some barbecue, Hank and
There-
Tanks is the place to go.
Their ribs, according to Michael, will take your heart. They love you that much.
Serious.
We'll take your
No, I
heart.
said
Take
they
his
enlarge
heart.
my heart.
They,
No, no.
The carcinogens and the smoke enlarge my heart, but they're so good.
It's worth it.
It's good.
That's why they're only open 3 days a week. So they didn't kill ya.
Yeah.
All their good food.
They're really doing us a favor by being only open
Yeah.
half a week.
Their turkey. Oh, I don't even like turkey.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
do
made
have
it.
really good
Had a
barbecue
sandwich
turkey.
both times. It was so good.
I always get their pulled pork.
Yeah, I'm all about that too.
Are you hungry?
Yeah, I'm starving.
I am so hungry right
Let
now.
me eat. You say I need to keep
We
my
ate
village
dinner at like
figure.
4:30, that's why.
Did you have dessert?
We'll have second dinner.
We'll have second dinner, don't worry, we usually do.
We're on the Hobbit diet. We have
First
second
one,
breakfast.
Yep.
Yep. Levensies, yep.
Okay, very nice. We're almost done. If you want to do it on your side flowers, you can, because if you look on our side flowers, they have it too, where those petals overlap. So just a little like shape of like,
Oh man, that's pretty.
Illiteracy is a problem in this state, Keenan. It's changing, not charging.
The joke is blown.
I have a lot of jokes, but I was told to stop making jokes.
okay. Now, I know I told you guys that I would show you how to do a shadow on a flower that is dry, and that is now this time. So, on my very last flower, I painted it. There's no shadow from the overlap, and my flower is dry. So, I'm going to put that in now. I'm going to take some of that purple-red mixture that I made, and just kind of where this flower is meeting these two flowers is where this shadow will go. Now, you can see it's not blending out because my flower is dry. Okay? So, here's my shadow. Now, what I want to do, because this is a really harsh line, you want to transition it out. So I'm going to rinse my brush, and just using a damp brush, I'm going to blend the edge so it softens the edge and is not such a harsh line. And now I have a shadow. And if you want to do another layer, too, if you're like, no, I just want to darken it up, because I think this one here, I made it so dark. So if you want to make it really dark, you can.
Can I get a new song in my head instead of Jolene?
Staying alive, staying alive.
Thank you.
That will haunt you.
I was gonna do Old Town Road. So.
No, I love that song.
Get out,
Not Old Town Road.
Me
No,
too. Same. Yeah, Old Town Road's a good classic.
no.
Sarah now sing Truth Hurts for you.
Bust out some Lizzo. Can't do that.
Lizzo.
Inappropriate.
But I love the Staying Alive song because it reminds me of the Office episode.
Yes. The
'Cause
CPR
that's-
episode.
Oh,
That's one
yes.
of the funniest episodes ever.
First, I was afraid.
And they're just singing, and then Kelly just starts dancing.
That
I love it
song
so
is called
much.
Staying Alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Alexa,
when Dwight
play
cuts the
Staying
face off
Alive.
the mannequin.
Oh, did it work?
I'm gonna get copyrighted.
No. Did it work?
We renamed ours. We'll see.
Are you playing?
No, what? We're trying.
We've discovered that we have an uncontrollable power, and we are going to try and abuse it occasionally.
Okay.
Because if people are listening to us and we say, Alexa, their Alexa at home picks up.
I forgot about
And then we can tell them to play songs,
You should do
but we're not playing them.
order expensive things. That's way more fun. Alexa, order Lamborghini. Alexa, order black Lamborghini.
Anyways, we discovered that during the last live,
Yes.
and it was a magical moment because me and Keenan were like, we have so much power.
And
People's TVs were turning on. They're like,
Yeah.
Alexa just started playing Moana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so great.
Well, somebody said work here.
Worked here.
That's great.
And Stephanie Crank is watching.
Hi, Steph.
Hi, Steph.
Okay, so that's how you add in a shadow on an area that has already dried. Okay, last little bit, you guys, we're almost done. So I'm just gonna do two more things. I'm gonna add some detail lines to my buds now that they have dried. So I'm just gonna use a darker green and my round 2. And just, I'm gonna follow the shape of this. So I'm gonna do a line on the right-hand side and a right on the left. And then in the middle, it straightens out and it curves on either side.
I can do this.
You can.
Alexa, subscribe to Let's Make Art. Did it work?
Of
course it worked.
Double your subscriptions tomorrow.
Aisha says, hey, I don't have the funds for a Lambo. Say something like paper towels or butter.
This is Zach's Aisha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Aisha. I've never met you still.
What?
That's
She's so
I met
great.
Zach. I
crazy.
mean, I think me and Zach have held hands. We're like
Yeah.
almost in a
Whoa.
relationship.
Yeah, which
But I've still never met Aisha.
isn't surprising.
Yeah.
You're almost as serious as Keenan.
Yeah.
about
He's
that.
gorgeous.
He's gorgeous, is that what you said?
He's a good-looking man.
He is. He is.
Yes.
Also, he's very calm, but I feel like he would kill me.
No, he could.
Could kill me.
He could kill you.
He's a ranger, right?
He is a ranger in the army.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Nice guy.
Good job. So it's just little marks of like, and it doesn't have to be exact. You can just do them off the base. Maybe you don't want to do them at all. Maybe you did them and you didn't like them. Well, blend them out and it's like it never happened, my friend. Don't stress. Now the very last thing is I'm just going to put yellow centers in my flowers. So they actually have, oh, Michael, what's the part of this called of a flower, this yellow part that sticks out?
The stamen or this?
Stamens, it might be a stamen. I can't look at it up close, but
Stamos.
anthers are little stalks with buds on them, and
Yeah.
the stamens are the like vagina of the flower. They all connect to the uterus part, which is the green part.
Okay, so Michael's not gross. He went to he's a biologist,
I
and
am
he
gross.
and he knows about he knows about the parts of plants and how they function and work together. Anyways, so it looks like it has little feather things coming off of the center thing. What would that be then? Look at this and tell me the correct name for this.
The yellow part
Yeah.
is a stamen. That's the receptacle, and these little purple parts are anthers. Those are a penis.
Okay.
Did Dr. Day teach you that? Did you ever have him? O'Day.
In Hawaii,
Yeah.
I was a music major in Hawaii. I was a biologist at Sacramento.
Yeah, we graduated in a different school.
Like biology, was you? Did you
Yeah, I was
graduate
BYU Hawaii bio.
Your biology major.
I only did music there.
Well,
Connie-
not all of us are that talented.
Oh, sorry. Connie says her Alexa said, I don't know what to do with that. Okay, sorry. Let's focus on painting this project.
We're so close.
We're so almost done. It's like one more thing. So they have yellow centers. They actually stick out. But because we're seeing them face on, it actually does just look like a yellow dot. So that's all we're going to do, and that's going to make our life easy. So, but just so you know, if you had a flower that was super open like this, because I've been pressing this so long and it's angled, the center would actually stick out. But I don't have a flower like that. They're all flat or they're all covered. So I'm just going to do my yellow centers. Okay, that's it. Just right in that white area that we left white. Heidi did all caps. So close. We're almost done.
I feel like that's also a gentle nudge to get us moving
Yeah.
from Heidi.
Yeah. Heidi's like, focus, you guys.
Yeah.
You can do this. Yep. Very nice. And so now we finished all of the things, or you're almost done finishing all of the things. And this is where you're just like, I'm going to just back away from my painting just for a second and just make sure there's nothing that's just that where it doesn't look too empty or it doesn't feel, you know what I mean? Like, gosh, I love how your colors turned out. Isn't that cool? Look at the
Ooh, I
textures
like
on
it.
those. Very nice. So this is where you're just like, what can I do? Or is there anything I can do? Or maybe I should just love it. You know what I mean? So,
I love that.
yeah, I feel really,
My favorite.
I feel good about it. Nothing's super bothering me. I think if I were to do this over, I probably wouldn't make this leaf so sharp, but that's okay. You live and you learn. And honestly, you guys probably wouldn't even have said anything. So that's why we are our biggest critics. You know what I mean? Okay. Are you guys ready to show what we've done?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay.
I kind of love this.
I've just given a shout
Yes,
out to my friend
that's
Puna.
beautiful.
She sees my shirt
I love that.
and she loves
So
my
subtle.
shirt,
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
That's fun.
so that makes me happy.
Very nice.
How do you pronounce the rest of the name?
Thai, it's Filipino. She's a Filipina girl. Yeah.
She's on an island with you?
Yeah,
What is one pineapple one?
I'll tell you later.
Oh dear.
Okay,
It would be.
Keenan's is our close-up ready, Keenan.
You guys
It
make
won't.
commercials during the.
It won't connect. I'm just getting a green screen.
Just
Okay,
hold
I'm
them
gonna
up.
I'm
Hold
gonna
them
give
up to
you.
put them in the center.
Wait, we have one question. Edlin says, left one of my centers too big. How can I shrink it without it being obvious? Okay, great question. If I wanted to tighten this up, let's say I just made that center way too big, it's distracting. What I would do is I would work opposite of what I did before. So I'd actually start off with the dark color and go in the center. Okay, and then I would just take water and blend out. Now my yellow is still pretty wet, so it's moving pretty actively, but that's okay because there are yellow, peach, pink hollyhocks. And then you can go in and kind of re-red that. So that's a way that you can just tighten it up. It would be opposite. You would just go on top of it with the color and blend out from there. Is it working?
Yes, it is.
Great.
We're fired up.
Did I nail the creepy face? Is that what you're laughing at me?
Yeah, you're amazing.
Okay. Who are you starting with?
Okay, we're starting with Suzanne.
Okay.
Cute.
Wait, what's happening?
You got a
hold it
display.
up.
There's Suzanne.
So
There's
people
her
can see what we
hollyhock.
painted.
Beautiful. Let me zoom out of here a little bit. Nice. Well done. There's Sarah. There she is. Boom.
We both did the same portrait.
Jessica.
Very
And there it is. Gorgeous.
Good job, you guys. Good job.
You guys nailed it.
You guys did so great. Oh, I just saw me peek out from the camera.
So beautiful. The mother of
that
my
it's still
children.
late.
The mother of my children.
So I had so much fun with you guys tonight. This was a hard project simply because it was really about letting things go. And that's really hard for us to do sometimes. So you guys did really great. If you painted with us, share it. I know it's so scary sharing your stuff. But honestly, we look at other people not to compare. We look to see how they're approaching the same projects and problem solving because we can learn from each other. So take a peek at what other people are doing and post your own and do that favor for other people so they can be like, wow, Suzanne got some really gorgeous light textures on her side flower right here. That is so beautiful.
So
like, that's so great. We have some great watercolor textures here going on from the blending. Like, those are all things we can apply to our own paintings in the future. So if you're on Instagram, you can tag us, Let's Go Make Art, or hashtag Let's Make Art so people can see what you're painting. Also, we have a wonderful Facebook community that is separate from our business page called Let's Make Art Watercolor. It's a very large community of wonderful people who understand that we are all on different stages on our watercolor journey, and they're all wonderful. So if you are nervous of posting your work on your personal page, you can go there. It's a safe place, and people are nice. And it's just fun to see what other people are painting. I mean, I really think that us holding up our paintings at the end is probably one of the best parts because you get to see everybody's. So, good job. Tomorrow we're releasing our Let's Make Art Matter tutorial for July. So if you have not sent that postcard yet, it will be released tomorrow. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, just watch the tutorial. I explain it. But yeah, that's it. You guys, thanks so much for painting with me.
$5 if you check it.
It's non-toxic paint, so. All right, that's it. Bye, you guys.
Bye.